You want to feel young again permanently, and you want to leave behind the kind of legacy that is greater than the one you are set to leave behind now. Developing your hidden superpowers of rock star is a way for you to get that all taken care of and help you to help save the world like you were always meant to do. And something inside of you knows it too. Hear me out. This is new, and I don't think anyone else is doing it. I have been doing this for more years than I will mention here, and I make it easier than you can imagine. You really want to be young again for good and achieve the kind of stellar success that you only dreamed and fantasized about when you were a kid. You need to develop the rock star within you. You can take the mic and help bring this mad world together to rise up and overcome this horror show of an experience and existence we are currently living out. You may say that you're too old, and I say, what if you live to be 100, like my grandma, who was born in 1926? They have been saying my granny is going to die for the last 40 years, and she made it up until a couple of weeks before birthday number 101 in January of this year. I love you, Granny. Are you going to be like Dick Van Dyke, still in music videos at 100 years old? Or are you going to be the guy at the post office who is bent over in half and only knows negative emotions? Waiting for Sugarman was 71. Charles Bradley was 65. Susan Boyle in her 50s. Ernell Pineda, 47. And these are rock stars with full-time professional careers and international fame. I am just talking about you being a regular life rock star. And if you want us to promote you, once your stage show is top-notch, we can talk about that then. Something inside you knows that it is your job to tell the stories of rock and roll and keep all the greatest songs ever made alive forever. Beyond just the recordings, by paying real tribute to our beloved 20th century rock stars here in the 21st century. Once upon a time, the rockers of the earth got together and led humanity into a totally excellent future. You might not know it now, but you were born to be part of this revolution, and this is your invitation into it. I want to unlock your hidden rock star superpowers so that you can really knock them dead in the rock and roll world takeover. Imagine if we had Live Aid every month and we called it One Day, and it was a celebrating of the great uniting of humanity. And you were an opening act from the local scene who gets to come on stage and tell the story of the Doors or the Turtles. And then after that, you show them your original music. And let's say you make the local news because you're 85 and you can totally still rock a crowd down for the one day. Maybe you feel like you can't do it now, or you're too old or not good enough. But after 1 month of Rockstar sessions with me, you are going to be leveled up so much that you will not only know that you can play a rock show at 80 years old, but you will start to mentally plan for it, because you're just going to have so much more power to wow the crowd. You're just going to have so much more power to wow the crowd after just 1 month of learning real rock and roll magic. I was always average at music, and I just desperately wanted to be good. I've been performing rock songs and making bands for more years than I will mention here. It started when I was 8 years old and the teachers put me up to singing Locomotion for the entire student body on my own. I tried to fake laryngitis, they wouldn't take it. The next was when I performed the Beach Boys in Japan when I was 15 years old. Barbara Ann, which was so high it was like, oh my God. The seasoned professional singers who I was on that tour with let me know that Barbara Ann was flat. My singing had never really been up to par, even though I had a fire for the stage. After years and years of not having the confidence to really pull out that frontman position, I found that living in LA, I needed to do something to survive. Survive! So I took the job of lead singer for a band called Sons of Jimmy. The songs that I would yell at the top of my lungs in my car were now my job. And I had to go from someone who was petrified of the rock and roll spotlight into a person who could nail songs by The Doors, Cream, Led Zeppelin, Bob Marley, James Brown, Bill Withers, late Beatles like Abbey Road, and on for 3 hours of only me singing, culminating in Johnny B. Good, just like Marty in Back to the Future. I had to rock star ultra into that job, and it worked. I also had to apply Lux Rock Vox, or luxury rock vocals, because the voice is the most important thing. When I first got to Hollywood many years ago, I was receiving private lessons from the rock guitar teacher at MI, Lenny J. I went to industry and A&R events for rock and learned so much about the industry from behind the scenes by hanging out with the band of the rock guitar teacher at MI. The voice is the most important thing. The voice is the most important thing is a seldomly spoken rule of recorded music. And that's when I really started to learn the kind of techniques and magic it takes to get people to finally give you the compliments you've always dreamed of. Now when I show people a clip of myself at the Viper Room playing a solo gig, they say, "You are a rock star." Serious-faced fellow musicians, compliments that they never would have given me before. "You're a rock star." "No, you're a full-blown rock star." I was like, okay. You know, you try to be modest and say, "Oh no." And they said, "No, you're a full-blown rock star." Wow, what's happened? I've never experienced anywhere near the level of compliments that I've gotten since I've developed Rockstar Ultra and Lux Rocks Vox and the whole Rockstar program. Because I wasn't that great at singing, I never imagined that somebody would say the words, "You have a really great voice." But that's what happened when I was in front of the Viper Room, standing right across from Johnny Depp's cousin, and a woman came in between us and interrupted us and said, "You have a really great voice," just like in a music biopic. It was a dream come true, for real. It floored me because I could not believe my ears. I have now traveled on tour and performed for crowds of hundreds and thousands in London, Paris, Italy, Spain, Germany, Hong Kong, Shanghai, and Japan more times than I can honestly count right now. During my time making bands, I have turned guys who don't even own an instrument and have never sung before into the kind of a guy who can bring down the house in a Hollywood club, a celebrity hideaway, and make the people scream for them. I'm talking from being a guy who could not sing in key to being a guy who's flirting with Juliette Lewis in the venue where he has brought down the house singing John Lennon. I have made so many rock and roll dreams come true, and I know for a fact that nobody else has given up the goods on how to make that happen for themselves or for you. And I know for a fact that nobody else has given up the goods on how to do it. There is a secret to having the kind of experience and compliments that are so out of this world that people will think you are making it up. You have given your all to hold up your responsibilities for your loved ones. You know that you got to focus to put bread on the table. And you feel like there is no real hope for you ever getting the kinds of satisfying rock and roll experiences that you've dreamt of since you were young. Do you want to spend the rest of your life just getting older and older every day until you're no longer with us? Or do you want to spend the rest of your life as a regular life rock star who's able to go on any stage at any time they want and rock the house down and represent the music that we love, as well as make your dreams come true of showing people the songs that you've written? Do you want to be the kind of person who just slowly declines into the negativity of being elderly? Or do you want to be the kind of person who's on the local news at 90 because you're still rocking the house down because you know how to be a rock star now? You know, you could be posting videos when you're 95 and people could just be there giving you compliments all throughout the day that you would never have otherwise. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is for the revolution, but the other part is so that I can fund my own musical offerings here in LA. Because here in LA, it really does cost real money and good money to do a good record. There's no calling in favors here, as everybody has to earn money to survive or get money to survive. I took some demos of songs that I wrote over to the house of a real life rock star, Jesse from Eagles of Death Metal. You may know him from the infamous and legendary attack at the Bataclan in Paris. They also had a studio a few doors down from mine at Bedrock Studios for about 5 years. When I took my self-recorded EP demos over to Jesse's house, he had something to say about it. It was only 2 words. And those words were, "It's rad." He then went on to give me instructions and missions which require funds and which I have yet to complete. When you join the Rockstar program, you are helping me to complete those missions. And I'm going to be very honest with you and tell you, and I'm going to be very honest with you and tell you that I'm not doing this because I love coaching or teaching or anything like that. And I'm going to be honest with you and let you know that I am not doing this because I love coaching or love teaching or anything like that. There is a joy in watching someone unleash their inner rock star for sure. The way that it works in teaching is tragically always the same. Before you start, the person who's having the stuff installed thinks that they can't even do it, and while you're installing it, everyone's distracted by the focus and the process of up-leveling. And then once it's done, the person always feels like I could have done it on my own at the end. And there's always a disappointingly low quality of gratitude. And that's why I'm doing it professionally. And that's why I'm charging for this upgrade and for this transformation into the Rockstar version of yourself. That being said, I am going to give you all of the secrets and magic it takes to get the best compliments of your whole life. And you are going to be able to get those as long as you play rock and roll. Imagine that you're in a new studio in Hollywood. It's called Cascade Studios. And to test acoustics, you rip into a Beatles song, a Paul McCartney song, and just sing a couple phrases from it. And then something magic happens. Floating into the door frame of the studio, backwards, and with his jaw dragging on the floor, you see somebody there, and his name is Doc Hollywood. And he says to you like he's seen a ghost, "Who was that?" And I'm like, it was me. What is your name? Who are you? I'll be following you. I said, oh, I'm Doc Hollywood. Look me up. Turns out he's the Hollywood vocal doctor for the big labels. And he's worked with more rock stars than I could probably even recount here. And there's a TV spot on him, if you look him up on YouTube, where it's LA News and they're saying, oh, it's the LA vocal doctor. And that was one of the best compliments I've ever had on my singing in my life, because he was so exaggerated and dramatic about it, and I'll never forget it. And that's what happened to me. I tried singing for years and doing it every which way I could, and I never really leveled up to the kind of compliments like "you are a rock star" until the last few years of applying all of this stuff. What worked is a combination of Rockstar Ultra and Lux Rock Vox, as well as Play Ninja and Mr. Mojo Rising Dojo, but more about that later. I tried singing for years and really my whole life, and doing it in such a way that, I would hopefully get complimented on it. And I really did not get to that level of "you're a rock star" compliment until the last few years. And what really did it for me is a combination of Rockstar Ultra and Lux Rock Vox. Now I get ridiculously flattering compliments all the time on the level of "he's the perfect frontman," or "he's the best singer ever." And really, I'm still that person whose first impulse is fear of the mic, fear of the stage, fear of being front and center and in the spotlight. I overcome it every single time, and you will too. So now the real question is, do you feel like you have what it takes inside to become the rock star version of yourself? I believe that you have it inside of yourself, and you can bring that out of yourself, and you can spend it to sing the greatest rock songs of all time and your own original creations. And you can do it like you do when you're in the car and you're singing along and you're nailing it, and your soul is just flying through clouds of satisfaction, and your heart is just singing self-love, if you know what I mean. I'm not talking karaoke crap or boring videos of you playing with no singing that people don't really want to see, but they want to encourage you. I'm talking about gigs and clips that show yourself and everybody else your real rock star side. Because it is shiny, it is bright, it is mighty, and we need you right now. It is time for us to start paying you some personal attention. So, click the link below and let our team of advisors discover you. We want to know where you're at, what you love, and how we can get you into the rock and roll world takeover for peace. You click the link below, and then you choose the most convenient time for you to talk with us from here in LA. On that Zoom call, audio or video, your choice, we are going to learn about you and your love for rock and roll, and see very clearly whether or not we can help you transform into the rock star version of yourself. Once you select a time, you will receive reminders about the call. I want you to do me a huge favor and respond to those, especially on the day of the call, so that we can get you locked in for your meeting or reschedule for a time when you can do it. Then you would just set aside about 45 minutes to answer questions about your relationship to rock and roll. And at the end of that session, we will be able to see what level we can help you at. There is a really cool free gift for everyone who attends their Discover You call, and you will get that directly after our first meeting. I am honestly excited to meet you, and I cannot wait for us to turn you into a rock star so that you can live that way for the rest of your life. And I'm excited to share everything that I've learned from meeting people like Slash, Getty from Rush, Brian from Silver Sun Pickups, Jeff Davies from Brian Jonestown Massacre, Shirley Manson from Garbage, Skunk Anansi, Skunk Baxter from the Doobie Brothers, and the bassist from No Doubt, and more just like that. And Jesse from Eagles of Death Metal, and from watching literally thousands of hours of music DVDs, live DVDs, instructional industry DVDs, all collected from when I used to work one block away from Amoeba Records, and I would go to the used DVD section and just buy up everything that I possibly could. And I was living in a little apartment one block away from Sunset Sound, where Prince recorded Purple Rain. I want to rock with you just like I did when I was singing MJ with the Jackson 5's touring band at a private party in Hollywood, where the Hollywood vocal elite were all in attendance. And let me tell you, we brought the house down. These people were jumping up and down and screaming and doing everything. And like I did for my private audition for the MJ on Broadway show, if you know which one I mean, the one where the guy won the Tony for Actor of the Year, I had a private audition for that. And let me tell you, I was more of a sound-alike than the guy who they picked, but that's neither here nor there. And let me tell you, my vocal range could not even touch MJ for my whole life. But once I was talking to an agent, he was like, it's $10,000. I trained myself up and I did everything in the Rockstar program. And voila, after literally about 6 months of training MJ, all of a sudden I was able to hit all of those notes and do all of the music, and I couldn't believe it. And the audience couldn't believe it either. Since I have employed the steps I use in the Rockstar program, it has been nothing but jumping, adoring, screaming crowds everywhere I play. Let's unleash your inner rock star so you can leave behind the kind of completely rockin', immortal legacy that you've always dreamed of leaving behind. One that gets you respect until the end of time. It's time for us to make your rock and roll dreams come true so you can live happily ever after. The beginning. I will see you in your first Rockstar session.